Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari Soranandana Vardhana Ranjana Jasoranandana Vardhana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Javihari Radha Madhava Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivanodari Soranandana Bhajana Ranjana Jasoranandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jayam Sipad Paramahansa Prabhujakacharya Asatus Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananda Gaura Vaishnava Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Prem Sikho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivastadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Samakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai, Shri Maya Panavidam Ki Jai, Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, all glorious some devotees, all glorious some devotees, all glorious some devotees, all glorious, Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 29, verse number 72. Garbhe bhalye api apauskoyad ekadasha vidhang tada lingam na drishyate yunaha kuvang chandramaso yata garbhe bhalye yashau kalyad ekadasa vidhang tada lingana drishyate yunaha kuvang chandramaso yata garbhe bhalye yashau kalyad ekadasa vidhang tada lingam na drishyate yunaha kuvang chandram soyata garbhe bhalye yashau kalyad ekadasa vidhang tada lingam na drishyate yunaha kuvang chandram soyata Karvi bhalye pauskalyad ekadasa vidhang tada lingam drishyate yunaha kuvang chandram soyata Karvi bhalye pauskalyad ekadasa Garbhe, in the womb, bhalye, in boyhood, api, also, apauskoyad, because of immaturity, ekadasha, the 10 senses and the mind, vidham, in the form of, tada, at that time, lingam, the subtle body or the false ego, na, not, drishyate, is visible, yunaha, of a youth, kuvam, during the dark moon night, chandramasa, the moon, yata, as, translation and purport by His Divine Grace of the Prabhupada Ki. When one is a youth, all the 10 senses and the mind are completely visible. However, in the mother's womb, or in the boyhood state, the sense organs and the mind remain covered, just as the full moon is covered by the darkness of the dark moon night. Purport. When a living entity is within the womb, his gross body, the 10 sense organs, and the mind are not fully developed. At such a time, I was reading recently that the mind isn't fully developed until 25 years old. But it's amazing, so many devotees join when they were like 16, 17. Vijaya was 16. Rukmini also 16. It's like amazing. That's why you joined, because you weren't fully... Yeah. 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 Yeah, some people are just mature at an early age. Yeah. Yeah. At such a time, the objects of the senses do not disturb him. In a dream, a young man may experience the presence of a young woman, because at that time the senses are active. Because of undeveloped senses, a child or boy will not see a young woman in his dreams. The senses are active in youth even when one dreams. And although there may be no young woman present, the senses may act, and there may be a seminal discharge, nocturnal emission. The activities of the subtle and gross bodies depend on how developed conditions are. The example of the moon is very appropriate. On a dark moon night, the full shining moon is still present, but it appears not to be present due to conditions. Similarly, the senses of the living entity are there, but they only become active when the gross body and the subtle body are developed. Unless the senses of the gross body are developed, they will not act on the subtle platform. Similarly, because of the absence of desires in the subtle body, there may be no development in the gross body. Om Jnanatamanandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshum Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pongun Longhayate Gurim Yat Kripa Tadaham Bande Shigurum Dinataranam Vanchikapatribhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanevya Vaishnavevya Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaura Bhaktavan Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This last sentence, it appears to be that of a devotee. Simply because of the absence of desires in the subtle body, there may be no development in the gross body. So when we're free of material desires in the subtle body, then the gross body acts accordingly. And therefore you see sometimes that pure devotees, such as Srila Prabhupada, he has such a pure desire to serve Krishna that his gross body exhibits the ecstatic symptoms, shivering and tears flowing, or many great devotees, and because of that purity. So this is the goal, to completely purify the subtle body, the mind, the intelligence, the ego. Burijan Prabhu, he has this nice book where Balaram Prabhu was reading Japa. And in this book, it's very interesting. He says that the mind protects the false ego. Actually, there's so much emphasis on the mind giving so much trouble, but actually the real problem is the false ego. Well, we think that we're we think we're the body. It's a major problem, and the mind goes right along with it, and protects this illusion. They're working together. It's partners in crime. Partners in crime. So what we're doing by this sadhana bhakti is it's a challenge. We're challenging the false ego in the mind, by this Krishna consciousness. And if we practice this sincerely, then gradually this false understanding of who we are will diminish. Nirmana moha jita sangha dosha adhyatma nitya vinirrittikama dvandvar mukta sukha dukkha sangha gachanti murha paramaviyamta. The one who is free of nirmana, the false ego, nirmana moha, illusion, nirmana moha jita sangha dosha, bad association. We also don't want to associate with the contaminated mind. We got to purify this thing. It's so close to us. and causes such a trouble, such trouble. So we're trying to purify the mind and actually turn it into a devotee. Big challenge. Because our mind has been a non-devotee for a long time. So now we're trying in this one lifetime to turn it into a devotee and realize that we're actually spirit soul. We're not this false identity, this body. Our real identity is the servant of Krishna. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitva, who understands the eternal. What is eternal? What is temporary? Yeah. We have such a nice philosophy. We say wherever there's life, there's a soul there. Therefore we respect. We're walking down the street. You see an ant. We don't step on the ant. We respect life. All different types of life forms, because the soul is there. Nimana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritti kama, who was free of lust. As Prabhupada said, our old enemy, Mr. Lust. Dvandava, who was free of the dualities. Dvandava mukta, of happiness and stress. One very nice thing about book distribution is that you get a lot of rejection. And it's very good. It's medicine. It's very good. Isn't it? It's good. Of course, some people take a book. That's also good. It's all good. So you get free of the dualities. This is good. This is bad. No one says. If someone says no, that's good. We thank them. Well, thank you. Because they're helping us overcome dualities. Good and bad. Whatever happens, it's good because Krishna's in control. Krishna's in control of everything. So it's all good. Whatever happens. So it's nice to and the material world is full of dualities, heat and cold, honor and dishonor, fame, infamy, just so much duality. So when one becomes free of duality, that's a nice level to come to. But it helps to get free of that duality when you're in a circumstance where there's a lot of duality. If you're sitting in your room, you don't experience much duality, right? It's not that you have to deal with. But when you go out, you're dealing with people. This is one of the austerities of book distribution. You got to deal with people, and they're not, in the mode of pure goodness or even goodness. They're in the mode of passion and ignorance, mostly in Kali Yuga. So you got to deal a lot with the duality, and just try to see the soul. Try to see Krishna. Pray to Krishna for some sincerity. So in Los Angeles, for 2 weeks before Gaur Purnima, they have Krishna, Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, Leela. They hear pastimes. So I was thinking it would be nice also to, since we're getting close now, it's coming up just 5 days away, Gaur Purnima. So I thought we could have some Gaur Leela pastimes. So here it's mentioned, this verse actually, it's the first sentence here is, when one is in youth, all the 10 senses in the mind are completely visible. So especially with Lord Chaitanya, in his youth, he was a great scholar actually, very young, only 16 years old. He was famous already. Of course, as knowing grammar, but still he was famous. He had so many students. Thousands of students. He's very popular. And there was one instance where one Digvijay, what was his name? Keshava Kashmir. So he was going around, and what they would do is they would challenge scholars. So word got out in Navadvip, that Kesava Kashmir was going to Navadvip. And the scholars became quite worried because he is famous. It said that Saraswati, the goddess of learning, she's entered. She would speak through him. He was so, because he worshipped her. So he was a great scholar, and scholars were worried. So Lord Chaitanya, Nimai Pandit, was on the bank of the Ganges, and he came up with his entourage. And he also had heard of Nimai Pandit. So he got the Pandit name. So, yes, I have heard that you're a scholar of grammar. Yeah, I know a little bit. Yeah. I've heard you're a great scholar. Kesava Kashmir, very great. Please, can you recite some verses in glorification of Mother Ganges? And like the wind, it's described, like the wind. He right there, he chanted 100. He composed 100 verses, just right there, in glorification of Mother Ganges. And all the devotees there, he had, of course, Nimai Pandit, he had his entourage there too. He had his fun. They were all like, wow. They're so impressed, just so beautiful. Yeah. But Lord Chaitanya said, now can we hear the faults and the, what was the other? The faults and the good qualities of it. He said, there's no faults in it. Oh no, and which was 64? Was it 64? Verse, I think 64. One of the verses, he said, no. In this verse, there's so many faults. So I can't repeat them all, but he found so many faults in this verse, and Kesava, he was shocked because he chanted so quickly. How did you memorize that? He said, well, some people are shrutidars. Some people are great scholars, and some people are shrutidars. So I remember everything. He was impressed. So he was finding faults, more and more faults in this verse, and he was shocked. And he was so shocked he couldn't say anything. And he was like, he was thinking, I must have offended Goddess Saraswati. So I can't. This is just a boy, 16-year-old boy. So Lord Chaitanya's entourage there, his friends, students, they started laughing. And Lord Chaitanya said, no, don't laugh. Yeah. He wanted to keep the dignity of the scholar there. So he said, please come tomorrow, we'll discuss some more. And that night, Goddess Saraswati came to him in a dream and said, that personality that you were debating with, that's no ordinary personality, that's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you should surrender to him. So the next day, when he came to Lord Chaitanya, he paid dandavats. And he said, why are you a great scholar? Why are you acting like this? He said, no, I know who you are. I know who you are. So he surrendered to Lord. He became a great devotee, actually. Who was the other great scholar that became a devotee? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Prakasananda Saraswati Thakur. So Lord Chaitanya was transforming these great scholars into devotees. Yeah. And then they were preaching. So, and then sometime later, Lord Chaitanya, he went to Gaya to offer oblations to the forefathers, Shraddha ceremony. And while he was there, he met Ishvarapuri. Ishvarapuri was a great, great, great Vaishnava, a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. He was so humble that he would clean up the feces Madhavendra Puri and clean up the urine. He was very, very humble. Humble Vaishnava. He was so humble, such a great Vaishnava, that Lord Chaitanya wanted to take initiation from him. But he was reluctant, because Lord Chaitanya's greatness was known to him and to so many others, so he was reluctant. But he gave. And it's described that while he was in Gaya, Lord Chaitanya, he had a place there, and he was cooking. He was cooking for himself. He's probably a good cook, yeah. So while he was cooking, actually he had just finished cooking and made the offering, and then unexpectedly Ishwar Puri shows up. And he was like, oh, this is very wonderful, this unexpected visit. Please come. I've just cooked. Please, let me serve you some prasadam. He said, no, but you just cooked that for yourself. No. You take. No, you take. Yeah. And he said, well, how about half? You take half, I take half. No, you take. You take. I'll cook again. Yeah, okay. So, etiquette, Lord Chaitanya, he's serving prasadam to him and waiting, if there's anything else you want. It's very, very humble. And then after he finished taking prasadam, he went into the kitchen, and everything was cooked already. The Goddess of Fortune, Lakshmi, had come in and cooked for him, for Lord Chaitanya. Yeah. It's nice to have a Goddess of Fortune there. Yeah. Imagine how that prasadam was too. So, of course, then he's initiated. He got initiated by Ishvara Puri. And when he went back to Navadvip, he was not the scholar that he had been. Actually, Lord Chaitanya, he was a little transcendentally arrogant in his scholarship, and he would tease the devotees sometimes, challenge the devotees and tease them. Yeah. But when he went back, he was a devotee now. He had been initiated. Yeah. Touched the feet of Lord Vishnu there in Gaya. The feet of Lord Vishnu is there. So he told the devotees, I want to discuss about Krishna with you. And they were shocked, because he was usually challenging. Never any devotional qualities, although they would say, if Nimai Pandit could become a devotee, oh, that would be so glorious, that would be so wonderful. Devotees would think like that. And now he came back from Gaya, and he's a devotee. And they were so excited. So he would go to their homes, and they would discuss, and he would hear about Krishna, and he would go into ecstasy. He would roll on the ground. Tears would flow from his eyes. It was just unbelievable. They were just like so excited now that he's become such a great devotee. Never seen such a great devotee before. So word got out that Nimai Pandit he'd become a devotee. And it was the big news, Navadvip. Yeah. Of course, some people, they couldn't appreciate that. They would say, oh, he used to be a good boy. Now he's associated with these fanatics, the atheists, they would say like that. Rascals. So Lord Chaitanya became a devotee, and he became such a devotee that he would clean the devotees' clothes, and fold their clothes, and bring tilak and kusha grass when he was a humble bhakta to the devotees. He wanted to serve the devotees. Yeah, just like when someone first comes to Krishna consciousness, new bhakta, so you're doing things like that, menial service. So Lord Chaitanya was doing menial service to the Vaishnavas. Of course, they were a little embarrassed that he was doing things for them, but he was doing things like that. And one time time he went to Gadadhar, he said, Gadadhar, where is Krishna? He said, Krishna's in your heart. So Lord Chaitanya started with his nails, he was ripping in his chest. Oh, Krishna's in. Who else was doing that we know of? Hanuman, he was doing that. So this was Lord Chaitanya, he wanted Krishna. So he was doing like this. So then, within a short time, the kirtan started in Srivas Thakur's home. And it was closed doors, just like here we have more or less closed doors, yeah, with this lockdown. But there it was very strict, closed doors. No one could go in, yeah, except for those that were very intimate devotees, you know, very nice Pakka devotees. They can go in. Otherwise, nobody else can go in. And some people were complaining. Why can't we go in? We're so sinful. We can't go in. We're so unfortunate. We can't go into the kirtan. And some people were criticizing. They're just in there intoxicated, with women and, So, there was one instance where there was a brahmachari, who would live off of just milk. And he went to Srivas Thakur and he begged, please, allow me to be in the house during this kirtan. I would very much appreciate it. I live a very austere life. I'm not a sense gratifier. I just live off of milk. Please allow this mercy. And he touched the heart of Srivas Thakur. He said, okay, I'll hide you in the house. So kirtan is going on. And Lord Chaitanya says, why don't I feel bliss? Why don't I feel bliss? Someone is here that should not be here? And Srivas Thakur said, he's omniscient, he knows everything, can't hide anything from Lord Chaitanya. He said, well, there's one brahmachari here, Lord Chaitanya, but he's very austere, he lives off of just milk. Lord Chaitanya became angry. You can't achieve bhakti just by living off of eating milk or drinking milk. No. Became very angry. So the brahmachari got a little fearful. So he took off, running off. But he was in ecstasy because he saw Lord Chaitanya dancing and singing. Yeah. So he was so happy, he was ecstatic. Although he had gotten chastised, he was just beaming in ecstasy. And Lord Chaitanya, being the omniscient Lord that he was, he understood this boy's very nice. Although he got chastised, he was appreciated. So he told the devotees, call him. So they called him out. Lord Chaitanya wants you. So he came back and he was able to stay with the kirtan because he was very humble, very meek. So Lord Chaitanya saw that. There was another instance where kirtan was going on, and again Lord Chaitanya's, I'm not feeling bliss. Why am I not feeling bliss? Is someone here that should not be here? So the devotees started searching the house, all over the house, if anybody had snuck in. A lot of people wanted in, So he found out that his mother-in-law was there, hiding in a basket. His mother-in-law, Srivas Thakur's mother-in-law, was there, elderly. And so he took her and said, you can't be here now, Lord Chaitanya. Upset, so she had to leave. So that says something about kirtan. Who's in the kirtan? If only devotees are in the kirtan, then it's or even in the class. If you have only devotees in the class that are enthusiastically hearing, then it creates an atmosphere. Or also in the kirtan, But if you have someone in the class who all the other devotees enthusiastically listening, but someone else, I've seen that before. When I'm giving classes, he's back there like that. like, what's this person by? I've had that experience, and it kind of ruins the atmosphere a little bit, just to have someone that's not really into it, So Srivas Thakur was concerned because there was some word around Navadvip that the king is going to get upset with all the kirtan, because it's a Muslim king, So the word was getting out that the king's going to come with his men, they're going to take the house and they're just going to throw it into the Ganges. And he was concerned, he's got his family and everything. So Lord Chaitanya, he got word of this. And he said, Srivas Thakur, don't worry. The king cannot do anything without my sanction. Nothing. Don't you know that? And his little niece was there. Besides Devita, who knows? What was her name? The niece. Narayani. He said, let me show you. Narayani, chant the names of Krishna and cry in ecstasy in love of Krishna. Immediately she just went into complete ecstasy, chanting Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Tears are flowing from her eyes, like it's described like a stream. Like a stream coming from her eyes. It's just Krishna, Krishna, rolling on the ground. He said, now Srivas, are you convinced? Said, yes, my lord. He can't do anything. Don't worry. So they continued on with the kirtan. And so many people, they wanted to participate in this kirtan. And the people, they were disappointed, but they thought, well, let's just have kirtan outside. We'll have it ourselves, We have mridangas, it's kirtan, let's have kirtan. We have kartal, we have everything. So they were inspired. All right, yeah, let's do it. So they were doing this kirtan, and now they were doing it outside, but it was being run by the Muslims. So when the Muslim leaders saw this, they went to the Qazi and said, hey, these Hindus, they're getting a little bold now. They're doing kirtan outside. So the Qazi came with his men and took a mridanga and threw it on the ground. Broke the mridanga. So, and his men, they were also beating some of the Hindus. So, they were very scared. They went away. Everybody went running. So then Lord Chaitanya got word that the mridanga had been broken by the Qazi, and devotees had been beaten. So he told Lord Nityananda, go door to door and tell the other devotees, go door to door, and everybody get a torch. We're going to have kirtan in Navadvip. So the Lord Nityananda was so ecstatic. Now it's going to come out of the house. And no one had seen Lord Chaitanya dancing outside of the inner circle there. So everybody became very excited. All the Hindus and devotees, they became very excited that Lord Chaitanya is going to come. It's going to be, what's he called? Civil disobedience. The first civil disobedience movement, probably, maybe. So it's described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat that millions of people participated in this, and it became such a big thing, not only in Navadvip, in the universe. Demigods came, and they had human forms to participate in this congregational chanting, the first congregational chanting in the world, actually, outside, public, congregational chanting. So word got out in the universe. Demigods came in human form. There's so many people. Can't imagine. I mean, imagine being in a kirtan like that, Harinam, going Harinam like that. So all the devotees, they're gathered with their torches, and you can imagine how loud it was, tumultuous. Lord Chaitanya is chanting, and it's described that Lord Chaitanya, he would jump up. He would jump up so high, devotees were afraid when he crashed to the ground. What's going to happen? And he was already tall. How tall was Lord Chaitanya? 7 feet. He was big, and generally, Hindus are not very big. Lord Chaitanya was huge, and golden, so beautiful. So he would jump up, and he would land, and he would be unconscious in ecstasy. And devotees would be very worried, and they would chant loudly, and he would come to consciousness again, and he would dance again. So everybody was very ecstatic, so ecstatic. Kirtans going on, so tumultuous. And then, so Lord Chaitanya, he's going to the house of the Kazi. He's going to have a talk with the Kazi about all this. So they're getting closer and closer to the Kazi's house, and he hears. He said, "What is that? Some marriage ceremony? The Hindus are having some marriage or something?" Because they would do like that. They would have, marriages. They would go out and they would have some procession. So he looked out and he saw all the torches. What's this? What's going on? And he heard the chanting, and he became scared. And his servants also became scared. It's described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that he hid in his room upstairs. He was scared. All the Muslims were scared. And at one point he told his servants, go and see what's going on. So they went down, and it's described that their beards went into flames, and they got blisters on their face. Yeah. All of them, not just one of them, all of them. Their beards went up in flames. Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya, he goes to the home of the Kazi, and he tells some of his devotees, go up and tell them to come down. It's okay. We're peaceful. So he comes down, and Lord Chaitanya says, what kind of reception is this? We've come to your home and you're not receiving us. You're hiding up here. He said, well, this is an extraordinary way to come to my home. I was a little frightened. He said, no, that's okay. Let's discuss. Please sit. He gave respect to the Kazi because he's the king. So he said, why is it that you Muslims, you are drinking the milk of the cow, but you're killing the cow, you're eating the cow. She's your mother. And the bull, you're getting grains. The bull, he's tilling the land, and so you're getting grains from the bull, and you're killing. Why? Why are you doing that? He said, but see, he was knowledgeable. So he said, but also in your scriptures you have cow killing. Yeah. He said, no. Lord Chaitanya said, no. In other ages, an old cow would be killed, just for experimental purposes. But he would get a new body. Yeah. But in Kali Yuga, in this age, no cow killing is done. In Kali Yuga, there's 5 things: no killing of a horse, no killing of a cow, no taking of a sannyas. The brothers couldn't have sex with his brother's wife. And there's one more, I can't remember. But yeah, there's no cow killing in Kali Yuga. So why are you doing this? Yeah. So he couldn't argue back. Yeah. Yeah, we're drinking the milk of the cow, so we shouldn't be killing her. So he said, I had heard that you stopped the kirtan some time back, but now you didn't stop it. Why is this? He said, well, last night I had a dream. And in this dream, this half man, half lion came to me. And he said, I would kill you now. I would kill you now because you weren't so much of a disturbance. I'm not going to kill you. But if you do anything like you did with breaking the mridanga, I'm going to kill you. And he started with his nails, he was ripping into his chest. And then the Kazi said, this is what happened. It wasn't just a dream. It wasn't just a dream. Yeah. So Lord Chaitanya, he was surprised. And the Kazi said, from now on, from this day, I will not be a disturbance to the kirtan. And nor will any of my descendants from this time on be a disturbance to the Harinam Sankirtan. So this was the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He actually became a devotee. And after that meeting with Lord Chaitanya and the Kazi, they went out and they performed kirtan. He joined the kirtan. He became a devotee. Yeah. Quite interesting. So then, sometime later, they had this Swayam Prakash. The Swayam Prakash is where Lord Chaitanya, he exhibited his form. Yeah. He revealed that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he was giving blessings to the devotees and revealing to devotees how he had helped them. There was one devotee, Gauranga Das, who was running from the Muslims for some reason. And he was at the river, and there was no boat, and he was with his family. And he was in big anxiety. Oh no, they're going to come and kill me and my family. So he's in huge anxiety. So then a boatman came. He said, come on, get on. So he took him. He told Gauranga, do you remember that? You couldn't find a boatman? I was the boatman. I came and I saved you and your family. And Gauranga Das just went into complete. He fainted. He didn't know that. He just thought it was another boatman, but it was Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and saved him and his family. And Haridas Thakur, he was chanting Hare Krishna, the Namacharya, but he's a Muslim. So the Muslims, they didn't like this. Even it said that if you give up, if a Muslim gives up the Muslim religion, that's a good reason to be killed. Even to this day. Even there's one friend of mine, he's a devotee. That's one of the ways that his mother and father tried to get him away from Krishna. That when the Muslims find out that you become a Hare Krishna, they're going to come and they're going to harass us. They might even put us to death. Yeah. That argument was put there. And of course, he knew it's not true, but he kind of, no, it's okay. Yeah, those are in the past, Mom. Don't worry about it. It's okay. But that's there in the Muslim religion. So they brought him to the king, and Haridas Thakur said, "What's the big deal? So many Muslims have become Hindus. So what's the big deal? One Muslim becomes a Hindu. What's the big deal? No. This can't happen. You can't do this." So, what's to be done? They thought, well, let's have him beaten. Let's have him beaten in the marketplace. How many marketplaces? Anybody remember? 22. Now generally they're dead by 10 marketplaces, dude. So he's being beaten by these guys. And what's he doing? Chanting Hare Krishna the whole time, smiling. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. No pain. Through all the marketplaces. And then when they get to the end of the marketplaces, 22 marketplaces, these two guys that were trying to kill him, they're lamenting. And Haridas Thakur said, why are you lamenting? What's wrong? When we go back and they find out that we didn't kill you, it's going to be a big problem. Big problem for us. We're going to, they're going to, who knows what the king will do to us. We're scared. We don't know what's going to happen. Oh, you want me to die? Okay. I'll die. So he went into complete samadhi. Just went down completely lifeless. Nothing. No sign of life at all. And they were like, whoo, all right, this is good. He's dead. So they took him. They took him to where the king was, to the palace. Here, we killed him. What should we do with him? And they said, well, some said, well, you should bury him. No, don't bury him. Just throw him in the river. Just throw him in the river. He doesn't deserve a burial. Just throw him in the river. So they threw him in the river. And he's floating down the river. Then he comes out of samadhi and he swims to the shore and continues, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now the king had seen that his body was lifeless, it was dead. So then Haridas Thakur, he goes right back to the palace, with his beads, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And the king's like, you're a saint. All right, I'm convinced you're a saint. Just do whatever you want to do. No problem. So from that time on, they didn't harass him. So Lord Chaitanya told Haridas Thakur, when I saw them beating you, I came and I was going to kill them. With my chakra, I was going to slice off their heads. But I heard your prayer. Please, Krishna, deliver these sinful people. Please have mercy on them. So I couldn't kill them. So what did I do instead? I took the beatings. And Lord Chaitanya came off the asana and showed the marks on his body. I was receiving the beatings. That's why you didn't feel anything. And Haridas Thakur also, he went into complete ecstasy. Fainted. So so many things were happening. This Svayam Prakash, Lord Chaitanya was revealing his greatness. And he was giving blessings. So many devotees were coming, but there was one that had not come. Mukunda. You didn't call Mukunda. And I won't call Mukunda. But why? What did he do? He gives me flowers, and then he hits me on the head. He comes to our meetings and hears about Krishna. Then he goes to where the Mayavadis are speaking, and he accepts that as well. What is this? I have no form. They're so upset. So Mukunda heard that he can't go and get darshan of Lord Chaitanya. So he asked the devotees, please ask him, will I ever see him again? And so he asked Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya said, yes. After 10 million births, he'll see me again. So they were distraught. They went they went to Mukunda and said, yeah, so will I see him again? He said, well, Mukunda, he said, after 10 million births, you'll see him again. And they were all distraught. But Mukunda was like, really? Really? And he was in ecstasy. I'll see him again. I'll see him again. I'll see him again. He was totally in ecstasy. He was so happy. I'll see him again. The devotees couldn't believe it. He was so happy. So they went to Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, he's so happy. After 10 million births, he'll see you again, but he was so happy. Because he has faith in your words that he'll see you again. So Lord Chaitanya started laughing. Bring him to me now. So the devotees were like in ecstasy. Really? So they went to Mukunda. Mukunda, you can go now. But Mukunda's still in ecstasy. I'll see him again. I'll see him again. I'll see him again. And they couldn't shake him out of it, you know. No, Mukunda, you can go now. They had to like, Mukunda, you can go now. Now? I can go now? Yeah, I could see him now. Yeah, go. He said you could see now. So Mukunda went, and he was so happy. Didn't have to wait 10 million births. Yeah. So this is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then there was Sachimata. He didn't call Sachimata. Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you didn't call Sachimata. And I won't call her. She's an offender. She's an offender. Because when the brother of Lord Chaitanya, what was his name? Vishwarup. He spent a lot of time with Advaita Acharya. He would go there and regularly hear from Advaita Acharya. He spent a lot of time there. And after some time, he took sannyas. And she didn't say anything, but in her mind, she thought, Advaita Acharya. Because of Advaita Acharya, my son has taken sannyas. So, Lord Chaitanya, he's omniscient, and he knew that. And then Lord Chaitanya, he also started spending a lot of time with Advaita Acharya. And then she was more verbal about it, that, oh, now he's going to take my other boy away also, my Nimai. So she was like this. So because of her offense to Advaita Acharya, I won't give her mercy. She won't attain love for Krishna because of her offense. The only way she could get free of this, she has to go to Advaita Acharya. So the devotees immediately went to Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya, you have to allow Sachimata to touch your feet, to overcome this offense, because she's offended you. And Advaita Acharya said, Mother Sachi, she's the mother of the universe. She's the mother of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. She's the mother of all of us. I can't allow that. And just from hearing about, Lord Chaitanya and Mother Sachi and the mother of the universe, he fainted. And the devotee is told, Mother Sachi, come. So while he's fainted unconscious, she took the dust of his feet, put it on her head. And Lord Chaitanya heard this and said, now she's excused. Now she's excused. So Lord Chaitanya gave her mercy. So it's a little late. Any question? Maybe one? If not?
I
yes.
have a question. Do you know the name of the king who harassed Haridas Thakur?
The king was Chazi, what was his name? The Kazi.
Is the same Kazi like who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised? Or no, this is a different king?
Different one.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Tapas?
Hare Krishna Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
We have Rajendranathan Prabhu with us. In the June.
Who? Oh, we missed Raj here at the temple. We missed you, Raj.
Hare Krishna, pure nectar, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki? Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu, for nice class. We have 21 viewers in YouTube now.
Hare Krishna.